Have you ever wondered where the Sephardic Jews truly come from? The answer might be hidden in their DNA, a mystery that has puzzled historians for centuries. What if their roots trace back to places and people we never expected? DNA testing is unlocking secrets that were long buried, and the truth is more surprising than you think. To understand this deep connection and uncover the full story, stick around and watch the entire video. The history of the Sephardic Jews is not just a story of migration. It is a saga of resilience, survival, and the preservation of identity in the face of unimaginable hardship. Their roots stretch back to the ancient Jewish communities of Spain, where they thrived for centuries, blending into the cultural and social fabric of the Iberian Peninsula. But in 1492, everything changed. This year would become a turning point not just in Jewish history, but in the story of humanity itself. The expulsion from Spain, decreed by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, was a cataclysmic event that uprooted thousands of Jewish families from the land they had called home for generations. The echoes of this tragedy still reverberate through the hearts of Sephardic Jews to this day. Families were torn apart, their belongings left behind, their homes abandoned, as the royal decree forced them to leave. It was a moment of profound loss, a moment when the promise of exile became an enduring reality. For the Sephardic Jews, the expulsion was not just an act of persecution, it was an assault on their very identity. The Spanish Inquisition, a dark chapter in history, not only sought to rid Spain of its Jewish population, but also forced those who remained to either convert to Christianity or face the wrath of the Church. Those who chose to flee, carrying nothing but their faith and their memories, sought refuge across Europe, the Ottoman Empire, North Africa, and the shores of the Americas. They scattered like seeds, and from this scattering, new communities began to form. In Morocco, the Sephardic Jews found solace among a long-standing Jewish population that understood their pain. Here, they were able to maintain their cultural practices, their language, and their unique customs. The aroma of Sephardic cuisine, the sounds of Ladino, and the flicker of Shabbat candles became the heartbeat of their new homes. It was in these distant lands, far from their ancestral homes, that Sephardic Jews forged a new life, one that, while still scarred by the past, was filled with hope for the future. But it wasn't just Morocco that became a sanctuary. The Ottoman Empire, a melting pot of diverse cultures and religions, opened its doors to the fleeing Sephardic Jews. In cities like Istanbul and Salonika, they found not just a refuge, but a thriving community where they could rebuild their lives and re-establish their prominence in trade, scholarship, and religion. The Sephardic Jews became an integral part of the empire, contributing to its flourishing intellectual and cultural landscape. Yet, even amidst the embrace of a new homeland, the shadow of exile never fully left them. In the streets of Istanbul, the synagogues of Morocco, and the vibrant markets of Salonika, Sephardic Jews carried with them the invisible scars of their expulsion. These scars were not just physical, they were emotional, a constant reminder of the life they once knew, the homes they were forced to leave behind, and the family members lost in the chaos of exile. But through it all, they remained undeterred. The Sephardic Jewish identity was not just defined by where they were from, it was defined by their unbreakable spirit. This resilience, this ability to endure, is woven into the very fabric of their DNA. Over the centuries, their communities have flourished in new lands, adapting and integrating into new societies, while holding on to the core of their identity. Their language, Ladino, became a symbol of their survival, a living testament to a culture that refused to be erased by time or tyranny. And through it all, their genetic legacy, carried through generations, tells the story of their journey. As genetic research has begun to unravel the complexities of the Sephardic Jewish diaspora, it's becoming clear that the answers to their true origins are hidden within their very DNA. The question arises, how much of their journey is written in their genes? Could their genetic markers provide clues to the places they lived, the people they encountered, and the cultures they shaped and were shaped by? It is a mystery that modern science is just beginning to uncover, revealing ties to distant lands and ancient civilizations that Sephardic Jews might never have known, yet have carried with them for centuries. Their history is not just a tale of loss. It is a story of survival, of identity forged in the fires of adversity, of a people who, despite being scattered to the farthest corners of the earth, never lost their connection to their roots. Their genetic legacy may hold the key to understanding their journey in ways that history alone cannot fully explain. As the truth behind their ancestry begins to unfold, the Sephardic Jews are not just rediscovering where they come from. They are reconnecting with a history that, despite being scattered and fragmented, has remained unbroken. As we reflect on the centuries-long journey of the Sephardic Jews, from their roots in Spain to their scattered settlements across the world, one truth becomes evident. Their story is far from over. The pages of their history, written in exile, are being rewritten today through an astonishing tool, DNA. What was once a tale of displacement and survival is now being illuminated by modern science, allowing us to peer deeper into the mystery of their origins. But how can something as invisible as DNA unlock the door to a history so complex, so fragmented, and so rich? DNA, the very blueprint of who we are, holds within it the secrets of our past. It carries the fingerprints of ancient ancestors who walked the earth centuries before us. For Sephardic Jews, whose history spans across continents and cultures, this genetic map is more than just a sequence of letters. It is a bridge between their past and present, offering new insights into their identity and the lands they once called home. Genetic testing, which has become increasingly popular in recent years, allows individuals to trace their lineage in ways that were previously unimaginable. By analyzing specific markers in our DNA, scientists can trace ancestral origins, revealing connections to distant lands and ancient civilizations. For Sephardic Jews, this technology has become a powerful tool in answering a long-standing question: where do they truly come from? The process of genetic testing is both a journey into the depths of science and a rediscovery of cultural heritage. Through sophisticated tests that examine mitochondrial DNA, inherited from the mother, and Y chromosome DNA, inherited from the father, geneticists can piece together a mosaic of ancestry that stretches across time and geography. For Sephardic Jews, these markers offer a window into their ancient origins in Spain and the various regions they resettled in after their expulsion. From the Ottoman Empire to Morocco, from North Africa to the Americas, these genetic markers are like breadcrumbs, leading us along the path of their migration. But the revelations don't end there. DNA testing has proven to be a double-edged sword, confirming some long-held beliefs while challenging others. Many of the Sephardic Jews' ancestral connections to Spain have been confirmed through genetic markers that trace back to the Iberian Peninsula. Yet, other surprising connections have emerged. The DNA of Sephardic Jews has shown ties to ancient Jewish communities in the Middle East, North Africa, and even parts of Eastern Europe. These unexpected findings reveal a more complex story, one that goes beyond the traditional narrative of a single unified community expelled from Spain. Instead, the genetic evidence paints a picture of a people who over time became part of a vast network of interconnected cultures and civilizations. For example, some Sephardic Jews' DNA reveals links to Jewish communities in regions such as Morocco and Tunisia, where they found refuge after fleeing Spain. Other genetic markers trace back to areas in the Balkans and Turkey, suggesting that Sephardic Jews were not just exiles, but part of a larger fluid network of trade and intellectual exchange that spanned the Mediterranean world. These discoveries challenge the idea that Sephardic Jews were simply isolated from the broader Jewish diaspora. Rather, they were part of a vibrant, interconnected world where identities were fluid and communities were shaped by centuries of migration and interaction. Moreover, the use of genetic testing has provided Sephardic Jews with an opportunity to reconnect with distant relatives who may never have known they shared the same ancestry. Imagine the emotional impact of discovering, through a simple test, that your family's history stretches far beyond the borders of your homeland, connecting you to people you never knew existed. This is the power of DNA, not just as a scientific tool, but as a means of bringing people closer together, even across generations. But with these revelations comes a deeper understanding of the complexities of identity. For Sephardic Jews, the connection to their Spanish roots is undeniable, but the genetic evidence also shows that their identity has been shaped by a multitude of cultures over the centuries. Their journey through exile has not been one of isolation, but of interaction and exchange. And this exchange, this blending of cultures, is woven into the very fabric of their genetic makeup. The emotional significance of these findings cannot be overstated. For generations, Sephardic Jews have carried with them the weight of exile, the pain of displacement, and the longing for a lost homeland. Now, through genetic testing, they are uncovering the lost threads of their past, threads that were once thought to be severed forever. DNA has given them the ability to connect with the past in ways that were previously unimaginable, to understand heir roots in a more profound and tangible way. But the story doesn't stop here. As we continue to explore the genetic history of the Sephardic Jews, more questions will undoubtedly arise. What other hidden connections will DNA reveal? And how will these discoveries shape the way we understand not just Sephardic Jews, but the broader Jewish diaspora? The answers to these questions may lie in the very DNA of those who have walked the earth long before us. Just as the Sephardic Jews' journey of exile and survival is an ongoing story, so too is the story of their genetic legacy. DNA is not just a tool for tracing ancestry. It is a testament to the endurance of a people who, despite being scattered across the globe, have never lost their connection to each other or to their history. As we continue our journey through the history of the Sephardic Jews, we find ourselves at a crossroads between the past and present, between the stories we've been told and the truths hidden in their DNA. The revelations that genetic testing has unearthed about the Sephardic Jews are nothing short of astonishing. These findings challenge long-standing assumptions and open up a world of possibilities that were previously unimaginable. What began as a quest to trace the roots of a scattered people has evolved into a profound exploration of connections that stretch across time, geography, and even ancient civilizations. DNA, that invisible thread linking us to our ancestors, has become the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of the Sephardic Jews' genetic legacy. But as scientists continue to map the genetic markers of Sephardic Jews, they are uncovering truths that go far beyond the borders of Spain and the lands they fled to. What they've discovered is nothing short of extraordinary. A genetic tapestry that weaves together cultures, ethnicities, and civilizations that span thousands of years. In the early stages of genetic research, the focus was primarily on tracing Sephardic Jews' origins back to Spain. The results, while fascinating, were expected. Markers of Spanish and Iberian ancestry emerged as the predominant genetic signature. But as more individuals were tested and the scope of research expanded, something unexpected began to emerge. Genetic markers from regions far beyond Spain began to surface, markers that connected Sephardic Jews to ancient civilizations they had never even considered. Suddenly, the narrative of Sephardic exile was not one of isolation, but of interaction with a broader, interconnected world. One of the most surprising discoveries came from genetic studies linking Sephardic Jews to the ancient Phoenicians, a civilization that once spanned the Mediterranean from modern-day Lebanon to Tunisia. Through mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down from mother to child, scientists found traces of Phoenician ancestry in Sephardic Jewish individuals whose families had never set foot in the Levant. This discovery is groundbreaking because it suggests that the Sephardic Jews, far from being isolated in Spain and its former territories, may have had ancient ties to one of the Mediterranean's most influential and widespread cultures. But the surprises don't end with the Phoenicians. As genetic testing advanced, researchers found even more unexpected connections, this time to North Africa and the Berber tribes. The Berbers, whose roots stretch back to the earliest inhabitants of North Africa, are a group whose historical connection to the Jewish people has long been debated. Yet the genetic markers found in Sephardic Jews show strong links to Berber ancestry, suggesting that many of the Jews who fled Spain found refuge among the Berber populations of Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. This revelation offers a new lens through which to view the Sephardic experience, not just as one of exile, but of integration into vibrant, diverse cultures that shaped the very fabric of Jewish identity. These discoveries challenge our preconceived notions of Jewish history. For centuries, the Sephardic Jews have been defined by their expulsion from Spain, a traumatic event that shaped their sense of self. But as we dig deeper into their genetic heritage, we begin to see a more nuanced picture, one in which Sephardic Jews were not merely victims of exile, but active participants in a complex web of cultural exchange. Their genetic markers speak of encounters with civilizations that were far older and more widespread than we ever imagined. One particularly striking example comes from genetic studies that connect Sephardic Jews to ancient Jewish communities in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. While many Sephardic Jews trace their roots to Spain, genetic evidence suggests that their ancestry is more diverse than previously thought. The DNA of Sephardic Jews shows evidence of ancient Jewish communities from the Levant, whose connections to Spain and the broader Mediterranean world were forged through trade, migration, and shared history. This genetic bridge across time and space speaks to the resilience and adaptability of the Sephardic Jews, who, despite being scattered across the globe, carried with them the genetic markers of their ancient heritage. What's even more profound is the emotional impact these discoveries have on the Sephardic Jewish community today. For many Sephardic Jews, the knowledge that their genetic lineage connects them to the Phoenicians, Berbers, and other ancient civilizations is both awe-inspiring and humbling. It speaks to a deeper sense of belonging, not just to a specific place, but to a broader tapestry of humanity. It is as if the genetic map of their ancestry is finally revealing what they had always known deep in their hearts. They are part of a much larger, much richer story than they ever realized. As we look back at the history of the Sephardic Jews, a history marked by exile, resilience, and survival, we can now see that their journey is not just one of loss. It is a story of rediscovery, of finding new connections in places they never expected, of uncovering truths that had been hidden for centuries. The genetic discoveries made in recent years are not just a revelation about the past. They are a reminder of the strength and endurance of the Sephardic spirit, a spirit that, despite centuries of dispersion, has remained unbroken. These unexpected genetic connections challenge us to rethink the very nature of identity. Are we defined solely by where we come from? Or are we a tapestry of all the places and people who have touched our lives, directly or indirectly? For Sephardic Jews, the answer is clear. Their identity is woven from the threads of countless civilizations, cultures, and histories, each one contributing to the person they are today. Their genetic ancestry is not just a map of their origins. It is a testament to the power of human connection, to the ways in which we are all linked by the invisible threads of history. As the veil of history begins to lift through the power of genetic testing, the impact on Sephardic Jewish identity becomes ever more profound. What once seemed like a distant, fragmented story of exile and survival is now being redefined through the lens of DNA. For centuries, Sephardic Jews have carried within them the weight of a collective history marked by loss, displacement, and longing for a homeland that they would never truly return to. But with the advent of genetic testing, a new chapter in their identity is being written, one that not only reconnects them to the past, but also redefines their place in the world today. The emotional significance of these discoveries is nothing short of transformative. For Sephardic Jews, many of whom have lived with the shadow of exile hanging over them, learning that their genetic roots extend far beyond the lands of Spain and Morocco is a powerful revelation. It's as if they've been handed a key to unlock the doors to their ancient heritage, a heritage that has been buried, fragmented, and scattered across the world for centuries. the connections to distant lands, ancient civilizations, and lost cultures that DNA testing has revealed create an emotional landscape that many Sephardic Jews never knew existed. For many, discovering that their genetic makeup is linked to the ancient Phoenicians, Berbers, and Jewish communities from the Middle East and Eastern Europe adds layers of complexity to their sense of self. They are not just the descendants of those who fled Spain in 1492. They are the heirs of a much richer, more diverse legacy. These revelations reshape their understanding of who they are, reminding them that their identity is not defined solely by exile, but by the countless cultural influences and connections that have shaped them over time. DNA testing has not just altered the Sephardic Jewish identity, it has expanded it. The notion of being Sephardic, once tied primarily to the history of the Spanish expulsion, has now grown to encompass a broader, more interconnected legacy. It is a reminder that identity is not a fixed construct, but a living, evolving narrative that can be reinterpreted as new discoveries unfold. For Sephardic Jews, their genetic heritage offers them a glimpse into a past they never fully understood, and in doing so, it opens up new possibilities for how they relate to their history, culture, and the world around them. Yet, as with all discoveries that challenge established narratives, there are emotional and cultural implications that cannot be ignored. While many Sephardic Jews are embracing these newfound connections to ancient cultures and distant peoples, there is also a sense of discomfort for others. The idea that Sephardic Jews' identities are not defined by their Iberian roots, but by a more complex and diverse array of genetic influences, has raised some difficult questions. For those who have always seen themselves as the children of expelled Spanish Jews, the revelation that their ancestry stretches beyond Spain can be unsettling. It challenges their understanding of what it means to be Sephardic, and brings to the surface the complexities of identity in a modern, interconnected world. This discomfort is compounded by broader debates surrounding genetic identity and cultural heritage. Can genetic testing truly define who we are? Or is there more to identity than what is written in our DNA? Many people argue that while DNA provides valuable insights into our ancestral origins, it cannot fully capture the richness of cultural identity. Cultural heritage is built on shared experiences, traditions, and memories, not just genetic markers. For Sephardic Jews, their cultural identity is tied to centuries of struggle, resilience, and survival, much of which cannot be reduced to a sequence of letters on a genetic test. The emotional implications of this debate are deep and personal. For some Sephardic Jews, the discovery of genetic connections to distant lands and ancient civilizations only deepens their pride in their heritage. They see it as a confirmation of the richness of their history, a validation of their resilience and ability to adapt to different cultures and societies over the centuries. For others, however, the discovery that their identity is shaped by such diverse and complex influences can feel disorienting. It raises questions about what it means to belong to a people whose identity has been forged not just by their struggles, but by their interactions with other cultures and civilizations. Moreover, the emotional journey of uncovering one's genetic history is not without its challenges. As more Sephardic Jews take DNA tests and learn more about their ancestry, many are faced with the realization that they are connected to people and places they never knew existed. While this knowledge can be empowering, it can also be overwhelming. For those who have spent their lives airing the stories of exile and displacement, the discovery of unexpected genetic connections to other groups can feel like a loss of the narrative they have carried for so long. It is a reminder that identity is not static, and that the story of who we are is always in the process of unfolding. As we look at the emotional and cultural impact of DNA on Sephardic Jewish identity, we are reminded that identity is never just about ancestry. It is about the stories we tell ourselves, the communities we belong to, and the values we carry forward. For Sephardic Jews, the truth about their identity is not just in their genetic makeup. It is in the way they have endured, the way they have adapted, and the way they have held onto their heritage across centuries of adversity. DNA may offer answers to questions about ancestry, but the true essence of Sephardic identity lies in the enduring spirit of a people who, no matter where they have been, have never forgotten where they came from. But beyond the science, beyond the data, lies a much deeper truth, one that resonates with the emotional core of this journey. For Sephardic Jews today, learning that their ancestry stretches across such vast and diverse lands is nothing short of life-changing. It is a revelation that transcends the written history of exile. It is a connection to an ancient past, a link to ancestors they never knew, and a reminder that their identity is shaped not just by loss, but by survival, adaptation, and resilience. Every new genetic discovery feels like a lost chapter of their history being returned to them, as if their ancestors have been whispering from the past, telling them that they are not alone. For many Sephardic Jews, this knowledge is not just academic. It's personal. It's an emotional rediscovery of who they are, where they come from, and how their journey has shaped them into the people they are today. The feelings of displacement that have long haunted them are slowly being replaced with a sense of pride, rooted in the deep and varied connections their DNA reveals. They are not just the children of exiles, they are the heirs to a legacy that stretches across borders, cultures, and time. And as they uncover these connections, they are reminded that their survival and success are part of a much larger story, one that includes the rich diversity of the Mediterranean, the Near East, and even the farthest corners of the world. But even as we marvel at the discoveries we've made, we are left with an important question. What else might be hidden in the DNA of our ancestors? If the past can hold so many surprises, what more could we learn about the Sephardic Jewish legacy? What new connections will emerge as genetic research continues to evolve? And how will these revelations change the way Sephardic Jews view themselves and their place in the world? The possibilities are endless, and the future holds even more potential for uncovering the layers of history that lie within us all. The power of DNA is undeniable. It's not just a tool for tracing ancestry. It's a key that unlocks the door to understanding who we are and where we come from. But it's also a reminder that identity is not static. It's not just about where we were born or what land we call home. It's about the connections we share with those who came before us, and how those connections shape us in ways we may never fully understand. The Sephardic Jews' journey is a testament to the endurance of the human spirit, to the way a people can adapt, survive, and thrive no matter how far from home they may wander. As we conclude this exploration, we invite you to reflect on your own journey. Could there be hidden stories in your DNA? Connections to ancient lands and lost civilizations that you have yet to discover? What might your own ancestry reveal about who you are and where you come from? The discoveries we've made with the Sephardic Jews are just the beginning. The future of genetic research holds endless possibilities, and it's only a matter of time before more of us uncover the hidden truths within our own genetic makeup. If you've enjoyed this journey through history and genetic discovery, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch the full video for more fascinating insights into the world of ancestry, identity, and history. Join us as we continue to explore the untold stories waiting to be uncovered. Don't miss out. The adventure has only just begun.